Hey, hiya, welcome back. Thanks for subscribing. It's the only way really of seeing part B, part C and part D. There might not be a part D. I'll see how I go. I'm trying to make these videos about 30 minutes long realistically. It's a big ask for a lot of people to sit there for 30 minutes and listen to this grumpy old middle-aged fat man. Well, I'm not that fat. 91 kilos I weigh, 91 kilos. I don't know what it is in stone, I don't know what it is in pounds, okay? 91 kilos. 35-inch waist, so, and I'm 5'10". So I'm not, not too bad really. Right, going back to where I left off. So like I said, I will apologise if I burp a little bit. Because I'm connected, like I said, to this, in my original first video, I'm connected to this chemo pump, which is pumping its under pressure chemotherapy, a fourth stage of chemotherapy, via a PICC line in my arm. So it's a brilliant way, really, plug and play. Right, okay, now I've talked about my video, realistically, is all about making a connection to people who have already got cancer, or who've had cancer, who have perhaps been told they may have cancer. Okay, it's a big thing to take in, a massive thing to take in. And I, of all people, understand that. I'm not a guru, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, I'm just plain old me as a patient, okay? Nothing special about me, nothing at all. I'm just a human being, a unique human being, because we're all unique to each other. None of us are anything special. We all like to think we are, but we're not. Okay, we're human beings, flesh, bone, blood. And we all pee and poo. Yes, we do. Right, okay. Now, I had bowel cancer, and it spread from, well, it was cancer in the rectum, but it's a form of bowel cancer, okay? It's sort of classed in that sort of area. It's spread now, unfortunately, through the bloodstream and the tissue and whatever. It's now in my lungs. I've got 8 tumours in my lungs, and I've got one tumour, a large tumour developing, which is currently dormant, sitting in my liver. Now, I knew I had something about my liver tumour because, do you know what? I'm not in any pain. I'll tell you that factually firstly, okay? Now, that is the problem. Had I not had an actual, or went to see the doctor and just thought that this rectal tumour was just perhaps hemorrhoids and just dealt with it, that tumour would have got bigger and bigger, and it would have caused more problems. So possibly now I would have been dead, okay? But I had treatment, and that's the way to go realistically. But it has spread, unfortunately, to the liver and into the lungs. I've had various types of chemotherapy. The first that I had after my operations. Now this part B is about my treatment, okay? It's my cancer / treatment. So I'll go into that quite deeply, I will, because there were some high points and some very, very low points of my treatment. And I went into some dark places, and that's where I redeveloped my way of thinking, my mindset. The bowel cancer, as it's classed as, it has spread, and the cancer treatment I've had, one was quite vicious, a thing called oxyplatin. That was quite damaging to the fact that I've lost the sensation, the nerve sensation on the palm of my hand. I've lost it quite badly realistically, so the whole of this hand here is badly damaged. And I find it very difficult to do things up like shirt buttons. You know, this hand is okay, but that hand is a pretty crap. Cuffs, oh, no way. Hence I'm always wearing t-shirts, because it's so easy and adaptable t-shirts are. But the normal shirt, big problem. The sole of my foot, sole of my left foot equally has lost a lot of its sensation. A lot of nerve damage has happened there as well. So I currently wear Skechers. Skechers shoes are fantastic. They're so spongy, they're so light, so it really does carry me forward. And I've got a little element of nerve damage as well in my right hand foot. But you know what? You cope with it. You get used to it. It's like having a budgie, okay? Tweet, tweet, tweet away in the background. You get used to it. Well, similar sort of thing with my hand and my foot. You get used to it. You adapt, okay? Your mind, your brain, it's geared, muscle memory, it's all relevant. And instead of using your left hand to do your cuffs up, you say, wife, can you do it for me, please? Or somebody else do it for me, please? You have to ask for help sometimes, you know. It's not a big problem, is it? Big ask? I don't know. Excuse me. Right, my treatment. I had my endoscopy. They found the actual tumour, and then it was the big waiting game. I went to see a consultant. They gave me the bad news. He told me, he was a doctor, he told me that it was stage 4 cancer. It was incurable as far as he was aware. And I then was put into procedure protocol on paper to have radiotherapy. I knew nothing about radiotherapy. I just thought it was the main thing to go for and do. So they'd analysed my biopsy from little chunks they pulled of that garlic-filled mushroom tumour that was attached to my insides. So yeah, it was definitely cancer, and it was a bit of a, don't need to hear this, I got young children 4 years ago. Remember, my kids now are 13 and 16, so they were a lot younger then. I was on great fun of them, I was, and to be told then that you're going to die and when you're going to die, it was nobody's business. So originally I was a bit sort of taken aback, you know. I didn't cry, okay, but I was taken aback, and I thought, shites, you know, I didn't want to hear it. But it happened. It's dealt with and whatever. So the next protocol phase for me was radiotherapy to target and try and shrink and destroy the tumour in my rectum. So off I went down to Swansea months and months later. That was the biggest problem, the waiting game. And I went down there, travelled there in my little smart car, and parked it up, and I stuck away, and I went there for 28 sessions, 28 days. So I went there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, skipped Saturday and Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, skipped Saturday and Sunday, so on. And I went down on my little smart car, and I drove all the way down there, 2.5 hours, parked my car up anywhere I could find. Well, I mean anywhere, because Swansea car park is a nightmare by the hospital there. And then I drove back. So most people, they stay. You can have a flat little annex attached, and you can stay there if you so wish to in the hospital environment, or you can book yourself bed and breakfast and come back and forth. But weird thing is, typical South Wales, they have no geographical education whatsoever, or where Mid Wales is. They think Mid Wales, where I live, is 10 minutes down the road. So it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, you know, as such. And I had to try and tell him, look, you know, can you give me an appointment for 10:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock? There's no way I can get down there for 7:30, 8 o'clock. You know, I could do, but why should I? Why should I? I had an illness. I had a play in it. No, it wasn't so much that. Then that 10:30 appointment might be changed then to perhaps a 5:30, 5:45 appointment in the late afternoon, night. Well, brilliant. Bloody traffic, go home time, you know. Oh God, it'd take me 2 hours and 50 minutes. Well, yeah, I was a grumpy old man then, but I've dealt with it now. But God, to be in a traffic queue on the motorway, we don't have motorways around where I live here, so it's a blessing for me. I mean, my commute to work used to take me 5 minutes. It was only a walking distance work, but it was very different anyway. So I had my radiotherapy. Now the biggest problem that I incurred going for my radiotherapy was the fact that prior to it, they set you up for you. They set you up in the bed, they put lasers on you, and actually they tattoo you. They have a needle, a big needle, a little bottle of Indian ink, and they get the lasers all set up on you to where the tumour is. They can identify exactly where they need that beam to go, and they tattoo you. They tattoo little spots on you. I got 3 little spots, 2 on the sides and 1 in the middle. Only small little black spots, but they know where they are. And then when you come down then for your actual session, your zapping, They sit you in this big, no pain whatsoever. So I can promise you guys, when you have radiotherapy, there is no pain. Okay, it's a painless thing. So they sit you all down, set you all up, put you in your absolute place. The lasers are there, dot to dot to dot, boom, you all set up. And then it takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes it does. You don't have to get undressed, totally undressed. You just lift your shirt up and drop your pants a bit in my case. And you haven't got your willy winks hanging out, you know. A lot of discretion there, which is good. So anyway, I did it, you know, 28 days back and forth, and I had some bad snow at one particular stage around the Senny Bridge area coming back, but a little smart car went through it like, geez, a knife going through a cake. And the only problem I had was it all went badly wrong. If I'm true, okay, the radiotherapy went badly wrong, because I would get down there for my, say, 10 o'clock appointment and find that perhaps I don't know what they're called actually, the nurses that operate the machinery, perhaps one has turned in sick. So we had 5 machines there, so I was supposed to be on, say, perhaps bed number 5, machine number 5, and the lady hadn't turned up because she's in sick, so you'd have to wait to go on to bed number 4, which, you know, would have been 2 hours later. But the problem is I had to travel down there and stop off, and I had to drink up to a litre of water to fill the bladder up. And when you get there and you get told that your treatment now is going to be 3 hours later, that was a bit of an issue, because you had to go to pee. You had no way, you know, there was no way of retaining a litre of water for a further 4 hours in total, because you had to drink a litre of water an hour before getting there, or your treatment. So that was a bit of a hard ask. So I'd go and empty myself, come out, drink more water, empty myself, drink more water, and half the time my bladder wasn't full at all. Half of my time that so it was my own fault, but wasn't my fault. So anyway, I had my treatment. I then came home, finished all my 28-day treatment. I came home, and then I was told about an operation. I went to see my consultant, my surgeon, I should say, lovely man. I went to a place called Cardigan Hospital near Mid Wales. I saw him, and he explained the whole thing in great detail. Lovely man, Mr. McFias his name was. And we went down to Withybush Hospital. I got sliced open, big cut, huge cut from up there right down to the bottom. Luckily you only did that one cut. They open you up, they take all your intestines out, they go in, have a good look, and unfortunately I'd been so badly damaged by radiotherapy they couldn't do the operation. The bladder area, the prostate area, all around that area looked apparently, not that I saw it, but apparently looked as if a spider had been inside me, casting a huge big white web. So anyway, they zipped me back up, and I was marked up with a stoma bag, marked up with a little black marker pen on my stomach here with my stoma bag. Here's my stoma bag. There it is. Okay. So I've got it's called a colostomy bag actually. I've got a stoma sitting underneath it. It's only a small red. What they do, they bring your final intestine at surgery, final intestine, right just prior to it going into the big bucket, the bowel. They snip it, clamp it, make a slit in your stomach, go in with forceps, pull that whole intestine end out, and they sew it all the way around. And then that's where all your final foods from that 24 feet of intestine comes out. It comes out into a bag. And the bag is actually quite a good thing. You can have a poo in a car. You can be driving your car and you think, hey, I'm going to poo here. Brilliant. And you just go to the nearest toilet at a later date. It fills up, you know, it's got a good, I would say about a good 1.5 pound capacity of poo in there. And you can just empty it into a toilet. It's so easy. Do you know what? Anyway, the first operation, I woke up and I looked down and I didn't have a bag attached to me. So I thought, bloody hell, fair play to them. They've done something miraculously, you know. They haven't been able to remove the bowel, and so they've saved it. Nope. The surgeon came to tell me that it was impossible to do and carry on with the operation, so they sewed me back up. I came home, I had 10 days, and one thing that I did find out, that while I was in hospital with the first operation, I was allergic to morphine. Morphine, well, didn't even scratch the sides on me. It didn't give me any pain relief whatsoever. They could have hammered me with a bucket of it, but it didn't do anything. It made me feel terribly sick, and it took the wind out of my sails. I couldn't breathe with it. So they decided that, yeah, surprising. There's a lot of people who are allergic to morphine. So my mother is, my brother is. So anyway, I came back and waited 10 days, and I had to go down to a specialist unit down to Swansea. And I had a lovely man called Martin Davis, a surgeon. I met him privately, I did, in a private hospital in Swansea. I can't remember it now, but it was called. But anyway, lovely man. He fully understood where I was coming from, and he knew the whole score. And he did then a second operation, going through the same scar, removing all the intestine, blah blah blah. But I had a big problem because I'm so deep veined. The anaesthetist had a hell of a problem trying to get me to get the right pain relief. And what were they going to give me? So they gave me an epidural in the back. Okay, which I thought, okay, fair play. I've not had that before. What an uncomfortable thing to have. Very difficult. So that went in the back of my back. And yeah, I was connected to machines and went through, and the operation happened on a Saturday because they wanted a lot of time to spare with me because there was a lot of complications going on. I had quite a lot of surgeons and staff in. I went NHS. I wanted to go initially private, but no, I went NHS because it was a safer bet because of it needed all people on call. And I was in there for a long time. I think I was in there from about 9:30 until about, say, 5 o'clock at night. And anyway, the fact is, when I came out of hospital, when I came out then into the recovery room, I unfortunately went into a shock, recovery shock, because I had so much anaesthetics in my system from the first operation. Because I did unfortunately tell Mr. Mathias that when I was younger, I had an operation on my appendix, and I woke up mid through operation. I did, that's honestly true. And they took that on board, so they gave me a little bit more, I think, enough to bloody put the horse down. But anyway, I had big problems, shaking. I got convulsing in bed for ages and ages. They hadn't seen it. They hadn't seen that before. And the weird thing is, they came around to see me then the next morning because I had to take photographs of me. The tips of my fingers, from there to there, all right, all 5 fingers were white, like milk. They were all 10 fingers, 5 and 5. 10 fingers were white. They were white like milk, though, as if I dipped them in a tin of white paint. They'd never seen that before. They thought it might have been anaesthetics related, so photographs were taken because they didn't understand it. So they prodded me, yeah, could feel everything, you know. But they were fascinated in that, so I was a bit of a guinea pig and a bit of a special person for that one particular day, which was quite interesting. But unfortunately, I then was in a hospital bed, and I was in great pain because they had not got my my pain control done correctly. So remember now, it wasn't just this second operation, wasn't just a cut from there down. I also had a cut from just underneath the coccyx right to where my scrotum, my testicles started, okay? So from there, so just say that's him hanging down there, okay? So from there all the way up. And they went in that way, and they went in that way. And what they did then, they removed the whole bowel, they cut out the whole rectum, and they sewed me all up. So hence that's why I've got a colostomy bag, so I can't poo from my bum hole because I haven't got one. Something less to wash, by the way. Anyway, saying that though, the pain relief for me was unbelievable because the epidural in my back just treated my stomach area, a small area of my stomach. There was no treatment to the baseline, okay, the trench as I called it, internally and externally. 18 inches I had underneath. There was no pain relief to that area, and I was suffering. I was suffering really badly. And I was in the hospital ward of 6 people, and that patient understood me, I understood him. The nurse understood me, I understood the nurse. Okay, we were all connected in a way because we all understood each other. It was a psychological thing. biggest problem I had was visitors, because they don't give a shite. When the visitors come in, you've got 1 metre between you all. They don't give a shite about you. They don't understand you. They haven't got a clue what's been happening with you. And I tell you what, today I'd love to be in hospital, because visitors are banned because of a pandemic. But then, this one guy next to me was having 12, 15 visitors per day. It was incredible. And one of them, South Wayland cheeky bastard, he said to me, "Hey, cheer up, but it hasn't happened yet, you miserable sod." Well, if I could get out of bed and I could give him a smack, I couldn't, but I had a catheter attached to me and all sorts. There we are, that's another thing. So I was desperate to get home, absolutely desperate. So I knew that they were watching me. So I had the catheter taken out of me. I got up, I walked to the toilet, little box ticked. I had food, I ate food, box ticked. I drunk the water as allocated, ticked another box. So I was ticking boxes all the way. So I was desperate to get out of there. I couldn't sleep, see, because the problem is, you go to hospital, and when you've got an illness, you need sleep to recover. Sleep is a massive, major element of recovery, regardless of whether you've got the flu, whether you've got cancer, whether you've had an operation, but you're in a hospital. And they come across to you every 1 hour to check your ops, your blood pressure, your temperature, and everything. That is hard work through a night period when you naturally want to go to sleep. But they do it through the whole day as well. So any sleep that you can snatch, you try it desperately, but you can't do it in the daytime when you've got all these bloody pain in the ass visitors turning up all the time, and they don't care. They shout, "Hey, hiya John, how are you?" Oh, it drove me nuts today, because you'd be waking up thinking, first time I've been able to go to sleep, and now anyway. You can see where I'm coming from. So I ticked all these little boxes, desperate to get out there, and I did get eventually out there, and I slept like a baby in my beautiful bed. I did for days and days and days, because I was ill. I was really ill, I was. And see, the thing is, they were only really giving me paracetamol in bottles, and I could only take 4 of those bottles a day. So at night time, I was in excruciating pain, and they were giving me a mixture of concoctions which realistically was taking me into a deep, dark, horrible place, actually. I mean, I was lying on the bed, which moved a bit because of the bed sore scenario. Not that I had any, but it was just like the new technology. And I was there in the middle of the Caribbean, in the sea, and I had all these black rats on the bed with me, and they were desperately hungry. Thanks. And there was no way they were going to abandon the ship. I was going to have to be the one that gets off. And it was my bed, but it was like a lie-low. The hallucinations and the dark places I was going into because of a concoction of medication was unbelievable. Right, going back a bit, you've heard now of, perhaps you can make your own assumptions about how I felt and my experiences of the operations, whatever. Going back now to the radiotherapy, okay? There was no real need for me to have had the radiotherapy. What they should have done, as what the doctor who did my endoscopy said, when he came across my tumour on the actual monitor, he did say to me, "We need to get that cut out of you. We need to get that removed quickly." Well, protocol on paper says, radiotherapy, big weights, surgery, failed, yeah, never big weight. So what I'm trying to say to you is that why didn't they just cut that tumour out of me? Would have stopped the spreading. Radiotherapy made the spreading happen, like the professor said. The Holly Tree syndrome, reproducing. Okay, I got it. I understood that, and I could see it. And it's a great possibility. Some people might watch this now, and I might be of a doctor, whatever. No, he's not quite right there. Well, how do you know? How do you know? We learn every single day, all of us, regardless of age. There's something to learn, there is. So with me now having that sort of seed sowed in my head about the holly tree and the spreading, I get that, I understand that. It's evident for me because I've done it myself. I've cut a branch off a holly tree and whatever. Right, so I could have had my tumour actually surgically removed without radiotherapy. And I have actually, since having my operations and everything, I've spoken to a good friend of mine, an elderly friend of mine, and he had prostate cancer, and he told me that he's going to have radiotherapy and blah blah blah, just like I did. And I suggested to him that he doesn't need to have radiotherapy. I was absolutely right. He spoke to his surgeon, and his surgeon said, yeah, okay. And that's exactly what's happened. He's had his prostate removed, his total prostate removed, and he's had a stent put in, and because the prostate sits on the old tube. So you got the bladder there, the little tube goes into the prostate, comes out of the prostate and out your willy. Okay, so he's had his prostate removed, and he's had a little tube attached, and everything flows perfectly well, and he's on tablets, and don't ask me how it happens, but anyway, he's happier. He does pee himself a few times, but I can understand that, okay, because the prostate does do a little bit of this action, you know. So anyway, he's had his prostate removed, and he has not had to have chemotherapy. Why? Don't know. He was told he had cancer in his prostate. So perhaps that's the way to go. Can I turn the clock back? No, too late. Okay. So there we are. So I've covered now me in my first video. I'm covering my cancer and my treatment as such. My treatment, well, I haven't actually told you about my treatment in full, really. My treatment, when I came out of hospital, and I initially said it, but when I came out of hospital having my first operation, the actual operations, I then had 5 sessions of oxyplatin. Oxyplatin did not work for me. It damaged me, like I said, damaged my hand, damaged my, it did more damage, and it damaged my insides as well, where the surgery had happened. It damaged me all around the whole area of the prostate and everything. But going in for the second operation, I came out and I was marked up for a pee bag, because they might have had to have removed the bladder. So I was marked up for a pee bag, and I was marked up for a poo bag. Pull the sheets down. Luckily, I just got the poo bag. So I took to the poo bag, the one bag, like a duck to water. I was so relieved, because the pee bag is a bit more complicated and a bit more messy and fussy. So this bag here was an absolute delight for me to see fixed. But it's permanent, okay? It can't be reversed. It's because I've got a bum hole. All right, simple as that. And I'm not alone in this world, you know. There's quite a few of us, but we do have it does have its advantages, like I said, and you can get on with them so easily. They are brilliant. They are. Once you get to know how to work it, and it's fine. It really is good, and it doesn't affect me in bed or anything. No, nothing. Swimming, you can't go really swimming with it. I wouldn't, I haven't, and I can't have a bath. I can have a shower, because it's made of like a shower curtain material, but I wouldn't want to go swimming in it. Might be a little brown streak following you when you're having a swim, you know. All sharks will keep away from you, mind. Think about that one. They wouldn't want to be following a trail of poo, would they? A small leakage. Anyway, joking aside. Yeah, I had my 5 sessions of chemo up in the hospital. It didn't really work out. It wasn't the right type of chemotherapy for me, but it is the mainstream chemo. It's quite an aggressive type. Oxyplatin. It did a lot of damage to me. So anyway, they then put me on a different type of chemotherapy. I had 12 sessions of that, and that was really working. That was damaging the tumours that I had in my lungs, okay? This tumour in my liver is a new one. So they were damaging, and my doctor up there, lovely lady up in the hospital, local hospital here, she was so happy, and she can talk to me, because you know I can talk to you. So I'm very much a hands-on patient. So she was talking to me about it all, and she said, look, you know, the 2 of these have got holes in, so this treatment's damaged. So anyway, you can only have 12 cycles. I came off my 12th cycle. I went on to another chemotherapy treatment, and unfortunately the little buggers inside my lungs started to put on bulletproof jackets, didn't they? Oh yeah, we'll have you, they thought. So they put on these little bulletproof jackets now. So the second set of chemo I had, main set of chemo I had, the bullets were not touching the little buggers in my lungs because I had bulletproof jackets on. So anyway, we went back then again to the nasty oxyplatin, which I had 12 doses of again. That really upset me because it was tough work. That was hard work to deal with. You've got to be pretty strong and tough to take it, and I am. I'm strong in my head, okay? The ability, the agility, I got it, okay? I've got a good mindset, and I found it quite tough. That was a tough call. Remember, I had 5 sessions before. I'm now having 12 sessions. That was quite tough, and I have my sessions every other week. Yeah, so I get 2 a month. It's like a bloody speed ramp. Dunk, 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 dunk. So we're talking about now my cancer, which I've talked about. I'm talking about my treatment, and I'm coming to the end of my treatment now. With respect, I can talk more about it, but I'm just very conscious that it's now 30 minutes on the old clock above me here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end this this session now, guys, okay? And I'll put a third one up very shortly. It could be within the next hour or whatever, because I'm feeling on a roll, if you see what I mean. And I've got certain things to talk to you about as well, because I've written a book. I've written a book about my life. We can all write a book. We can all do. But I'll tell you all about that later on as part of my connection, okay? I'll go back and I did again briefly. The connection is for you and me. You can connect with me and I can connect with you, because I'm quite perhaps inspirational in the way I describe my cancer. I'm very open about it. I know that I'm going to die next year. Perhaps I haven't mentioned that. I could possibly die next year because it'll be 5 years. But I understand that. I understand the whole thing about it all. It's life and death, baby. You know, it's all relevant to this, okay, guys? So don't get too hung up on that, okay? We all have to die one day, but we'll talk about that later on in the connection phase, okay? So listen, guys, thank you for listening. Please subscribe, because that is an important part of getting my third video on to watch, okay? And like it or hate it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where I'm coming from. It might be that you look at me and listen to me and you think he's a raving lunatic. I'm not, okay? I'm not. I'm a very decent guy, okay? So there we are. Ta-da all. See you later. Be good.